Hey everybody, I wanted to share something that's very powerful that's going on for me and what I'm observing in the world at the moment. And it's coming up over and over again in my coaching sessions, certainly over the last week. It's been really in my face. On social media, there's a lot of aggression, anger. I see it on the roads. I see a lot of rudeness. I see a lot of abrasiveness. I see people being very judgmental and constantly dissatisfied with their environment, critical, disparaging of one another. And it got me thinking, what the hell's going on? And then in our coaching sessions, one big theme has been coming up over and over again, and that is the theme of self love. So, what is self love? I mean, can you imagine? Self love is unconditional acceptance and understanding and patience, gentleness and kindness and caring and nurturing and protectiveness. Protecting boundaries and making sure that no ill comes to me, right? But unconditional love is all of that too, and accountability to greatness. If you love yourself, you hold yourself to a higher standard. We're not doing that at the moment, and so the question is why. Now, why is big? I don't know your life. I don't know what you've gone through. I don't know what's been programmed into you by your life, your experiences, your learnings, your environment, your people. And I don't want to go there for the moment. Where I do want to go is, how do you see that you are valuable? Very often we define ourselves and our value by things like how we earn money, whether we can generate wealth, look after our families, survive financially, the jobs that we have, how we spend our time. Whether it's on our pastimes, our hobbies, or our passions, or our pursuits, whether they be sports, children, family, charities, friends, whatever. We define ourselves by and our value by our opinions and our perceptions of our freedoms and our perceptions of our rights and our truths and our beliefs and our religions. We define ourselves and our value by our relationships. We define ourselves and our value by our dreams and whether we're living into those dreams. And to the degree that you can tick the boxes of all of that stuff that I've listed, plus whatever else is going on for you, to the degree you can tick all of those boxes, you feel valued. You feel valuable, rather. And if you feel valuable, then you love yourself. There is a higher level of self-love. To the degree you don't feel valuable, you feel low self-love. So, that really puts into stark relief what is driving how we value ourselves. If you're looking at all of your mistakes, if you're looking at all of the stuff you got wrong, your failures, failures, I mean, yeah, we screw up, but do you learn from your mistakes? Do you learn from stuff, or do you get stuck in your stuff? Do you learn and try to move on? It's a whole context. So to the degree that we're putting our attention onto something that is negative, of course, it's going to erode what is positive in us. To the degree you focus on what is negative, it erodes what is positive in you. So if you're focusing on all of the negative stuff and you're looking for negative stuff inside of you, you're going to find negative stuff, and what you're not going to see is the positive stuff. And we've been living that, right? So, I mean, there's deep stuff, and people struggle with deep stuff. So, as I said, I don't know your life, but I do know that under extreme circumstances like 2020, all of the underlying stuff and the underlying negativity that we have towards ourselves is being brought into stark relief. So 2020 is actually, in life's infinite wisdom, it's thrown 2020 at us as a gift to rock our worlds, like literally. It's rocked the entire world. Our job is to work on shifting into seeing our value and seeing and living into self-love. Now that's not easy, and it's a deep and long process for some people, and for others it's a lot simpler. I wanted to give you 3 very simple ways where you could start impacting potentially your levels of self-love. Now, I'm not saying this is the way, I'm saying that this is a perspective and something to play with. So, very quickly, I said earlier, your energy flows where your attention goes. So, if you're putting your attention on, let me say this differently. How do you speak to yourself internally? If you're using language that is rude and coarse and aggressive and critical and disparaging and judgmental, if you're constantly dissatisfied, if you're constantly looking at what you've achieved, but focusing on what you've got wrong, then of course, energetically, that is you're investing in that and you're building that, and that becomes your perspective, your picture of yourself. So the first part is to start investing energy, focusing your attention on what you do well, what you do right. Change the language, how you speak to yourself internally. So become aware of how you speak to yourself. I'm just going to be honest and real with you for a moment. Here's an example. Whenever I used to make a mistake, however big or small, right, the internal language, I used to catch myself saying, "Are you fucking idiot?" Like, who says that? I would never speak to my sons. I would never speak to my partner that way. I would never speak to anybody I care about that way. So why do I speak to myself that way? When I say things to myself like, you cocked it up again, you messed up, you failed, you weren't good enough, you should have done better, you should have known better, there's very subtle, judgmental, even, passive-aggressive language in some of that. So start observing how you speak to yourself, and the challenge is to shift that language into positive language. Stop labeling yourself badly. Go, geez, that was a silly mistake. Or that really is not what you're capable of. Or, you're capable of so much better. You're capable of whatever. Do you get me? Change the quality of your language so that you're focusing on what is positive and not focusing and languaging negative into your self portrait. That's the first one. Change the way you speak to yourself. The second is get off your socials. Stop comparing your life to other people. Just stop it. Really. Stop getting onto Instagram and looking at all those pictures, fake, of all those beautiful people, fake. They're all paid to be influencers. They're all paid to project something. Those are not their lives. They don't own that life. They're making it up to look good, to make money. It's not real, but you're judging your life and yourself and your success and your value based on some fake influencer who's making a lot of money. Don't do that. Get off the socials. It's really not good for you. Facebook is full of, the word is toxic positivity. It's a new term where it's all, love and light, darling. Your life should be happy. You should. Bullshit. Life is real. Life is tough. But if you immerse yourself in an environment that's superficial and you compare yourself to that, then you're never going to be happy, because you're going to see, I'm not happy. They're telling me to be happy. What's wrong with me? Get off social media. Change the way you speak to yourself. Get off social media. And number 3, gratitude. Gratitude is huge, and I want to show this to you. In grade 1, first grade, my son made that feel-good jar for me. It used to be filled with chocolates, but now it's not. There's slips of paper in there, and on each piece of paper, my son wrote something beautiful to me. So, here's gratitude, right? The challenge is to start your day with 3 things that you're grateful for. I wake up in the morning and I go exercise every morning, and I'm grateful for 2 things at the start. Number 1, that I can go exercise. I'm really grateful for that. I've got a very healthy body and I love exercising. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I'm able to do that. Number 2, I'm grateful that I get to watch the sunrise every single morning, even when it's overcast. But I'm grateful for that. And then I find a 3rd thing to be grateful for, whatever that is. My life, my family, my, the good weather that I live in, whatever. Find 3 things to be grateful for at the beginning of your day. At the end of the day, find 1 thing that you're grateful for in yourself that you've achieved that day. I don't care how big, I don't care how small. Just find one thing that you're grateful for that you achieved that day. But here's the rub. Write it down. Write it down on a little piece of paper, just like this. Write it down on a piece of paper, stick it into a jar, fold it up, stick it into a jar, and have it there. And I keep mine right here on the windowsill, right next to my desk. And whenever I'm having a bad day, whenever I'm feeling down, whenever I'm feeling just run over by life, I have a look in that jar that my son made me and I read it. And I've read them all, I don't know how many times, and I ate all the chocolates. But I feel the love from him and I feel what I've achieved and it lifts me up. And you can do that too for yourself. So I really, gratitude for 3 things in the morning, gratitude for self in the evening, and write it down and keep it so that when you're having a bad day, you can reflect on what you were grateful for that you did for yourself, that you achieved, that you accomplished, that you overcame. I don't care what it is. I don't care how big. I don't care how small. It's up to you. So those are my 3 things. Self-love, speak to yourself kindly, speak to yourself nicely, change the way you language to yourself. Number 2, get off social media, stop comparing your life to other people. And number 3, find the gratitude and see the gratitude that you have in you for your life. I hope that helps. Hit me up on the messages, DM me, post a comment, let me know what you think, how it's working for you, and what the outcomes are. And I look forward to hearing, and I hope this has helped. Cheers.